Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another week of Pickin and Grinnin. This week, I've got a special guest with Brad from Black Sheep Society. We are expecting Leroy. He will be here shortly. He just sent me a message. He's running a little late, but he will be here. Brandon, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it tonight, but anyway, we're going to start off here with Brad, and we're going to let Brad introduce himself and tell us what's going on.
Hey! My name is Brad. I go by the handle of Black Sheep Society on YouTube. I don't really have a channel yet, but if I ever do have one, that's where I'll be at. I'm fixing to go into my 24th year of selling on eBay, being on eBay, selling on Macari, Poshmark, the newly formed one-stop shop in District. I'm my own whatnot, but don't really do anything there much, and just anywhere I can hawk my wares. That's what I do. And as you can see, I'm a Dolphins fan. I dress for the occasion, Chris, because this is the first time I've been out in public since the incident on Monday night.
So I had to show, yeah, that was bad. I actually watched that.
I had to show that I'm not a sore loser.
And real quick, I want to talk about that ball game because I watched that, and at the end of the game, the play before the last play, didn't he get out of bounds?
He caught the ball and ran out of bounds. Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where I think the refs probably said his forward progress is stopped before he went out, so they just kept the clock rolling. But
see, I feel like that hurt him. So.
Probably did. I know a lot of people. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. We talk about.
I was just going to say. I was just going to say. I know a lot of people are going to point to Tyreek being hurt as the reason the Dolphins weren't doing very well. But actually, I think the bigger domino in that game was the Dolphins center Connor Williams. He's been a stud for us, and when he went out of the game,
he got hurt too in that game, didn't he?
Yeah. And he's the real piece, and he's actually out for the rest of the year, and I'm kind of bummed out about that.
Oh wow! All right, so the first question I have for you is why Black Sheep Society? There's got to be something behind it.
Yeah, it's actually just one of those things where I think so. In a world that's divided, in a world where people have drawn lines, whether it's political or religious or just whatever, the one thing that I think every single one of us have in common is that we all have places where we don't fit in very well. And, as resellers, I know that some people as resellers, they feel like they're the black sheep, kind of the outsiders. People look down on resellers some, but there's places where resellers are celebrated. And, right. Whether if you're a Republican, you don't fit in with Democrats. If you're a Democrat, you don't fit in with Republicans. If you're an American, you don't fit in with either one of them.
Right.
but no, it's just that everybody's got somewhere where they don't fit in. And so the one thing that we've all got in common is that we're all black sheep somewhere. So we're just a black sheep society.
Okay.
It's not one of us.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to know, as he said in his opening show, he does have a YouTube channel, but doesn't have anything on it. And you're probably wondering how did I find this guy? Well, Brad here is part of District, as he did mention, part of One Stop Shop. You guys want to check that out. The links are below. So this is where I met Brad at, but I did not know that you've been doing this. You said 24 years?
Yeah, not hardcore 24 years, but in January have been on eBay it'll be starting the 24th year. So, yeah.
Golly. So you've seen a lot of things. You've seen a lot of changes with eBay then over the years.
I remember taking checks to the bank, and once they cleared, then you ship the item. that's the old days.
I see. That's old school stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, over a 24-year span, what is the biggest change as far as game changer for eBay that you've seen?
Wow, that's a tough question.
That benefits the seller.
that benefits the seller. I'm just going to say the growth of the platform. I know eBay's got its issues, that they're numerous. Nobody gets that big without having issues and having to change. But just the sheer scope of the number of buyers that are there, that's just amazing. And it's one of those things that as the seller base has grown, the buyer base has grown, and that number's fluctuated over the years. But just the ability to from a small town in Tennessee, find an item or have an item of my own, put it up for sale, and for it to be visible to the entire world is pretty freaking amazing. That's awesome.
Right. So let me ask you a quick question. This goes back to within this last year. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm tired. I wore out today.
Hey, don't start that. I'll be yawning too if you start that, man.
So this is last year. Now this year is when I've started with I had a YouTube channel. It's called Buck Mountain Adventures, and what I did was I've had it for about 2, maybe 3 years, and there's not many videos on it. And I go around and I do reviews of hotels we stay at, campgrounds. I do, excuse me, I do reviews of like historical sites that we go visit and stuff like that on that channel. So then this year, I created Buck Mountain Barn channel, and so as I've watched YouTube as a reseller, I like watching other resellers till I can learn. I'll give you one example. I love watching our Reseller Information Network, RIN. I love watching Commonwealth Picker, Kevin. For them, I do like watching ADH Dave. He's hard to keep up with sometimes, but he's fun. He's just fun to watch, because of that. So, it's all good.
He's got a sick little sense of humor, and I like it.
Oh yeah. I watch Julian Bearded Thrift Machine, and I watch various others, and over time, even don't want to forget the biggest one of all, Josh Harry Tornado. Him and Kevin are up there, but. So I started watching them, and then I kind of steered away from them and wanted to watch other YouTubers that I never heard of. And then, of course, I started following in this category that they were constantly complaining, being negative about slow sales and this and that, and this just eBay was okay. So that's why I said all that to get to this, the slow sales part that we all, in my opinion, that we all thought we had this year. And here's the reason I say thought. And I'm glad I have you on here because you've been doing this for 24 years. You're going to be able to answer this and tell me if my thought process on this is correct. So I started reselling in 2019, the year before COVID hit. Okay. We'll call it the COVID era, the pandemic era. Okay, so I started selling then, and I was just building my store up. Now, during the pandemic era, what we call it, say 2020 and 2021, and part of 2022, you can pretty much sell dog poop in a paper bag on eBay. Okay, I mean you can sell whatever you wanted to sell. Now, here's what I want to ask you. And then in 2023, sales fell. Okay, just absolutely dropped for some. Not for all, but for some. I mean, it's absolutely just dropped. My theory on that is the reason people complained about it is because they didn't know the time before the pandemic. Okay, so my logic was, okay, so before the pandemic, I feel like it was probably about the same that it is now. And the reason it was so high on the pandemic is because people was not able to go out and shop. They had to shop online, and so sales were higher. And then of course that goes back to, you could sell video games like crazy. You could sell books, puzzles, stuff like that was flying off shelves. Then in 2022, about middle of 2022, that stuff's sitting on shelves. And then your other items such as bags, purses, stuff like that started flying off the shelves again because people were able to go out. So my bottom line is, do you think the slow sales really isn't slow sales. It's just everything just leveled back off the way it was before the pandemic era.
Yeah, so I think there's a convergence of a bunch of things. I will say that compared to the last few years, there's definitely was a slowdown in sales earlier this year. But
Mm-hmm.
as somebody who was on eBay before COVID hit and before all that, um, and
That's
then
why I'm
seeing,
asking you.
yeah, and then seeing what happened during COVID, there's a convergence of a bunch of things. You had people are stuck at home, and not only are they stuck at home, but the government's giving them money to spend. And as
Right.
they're at home, they're spending that money online. And I can tell you that, I almost felt guilty during that part because it's like people, can't go to work. And I'm like, wow, this is the most money I've ever made on eBay. And so
Oh, yeah.
that happened, and that lasted for a while. And I think also at the same time, people are stuck at home watching content. They're trying, they don't have jobs, or they're not able to go to their job like they normally would. They are watching resellers and different things. Some people, not everybody, but some people got on board with that. So I think there was an uptick in sellers during that time as well. I just think it's just the perfect storm. All those things happened at once. eBay, earlier this year, I think they're trying to incorporate some changes, incorporate AI and all those things. And I think what people have experienced this year, as much as anything, and I'm not saying that there aren't other issues. We can talk about promoted listings and all those things. But I just think that all of those things created the perfect storm that, whenever things kind of go back to normal, plus on top of that, you've got inflation, people's dollars that they do have. First mix in that they're not getting free money anymore, and which is
Right.
never free anyway, that. But
Yeah.
and then mix in inflation, the fact that their money just doesn't go as far as it used to. I just think all those things created the perfect storm. And people maybe who hasn't sold since before that time really felt it. And the people who, I'm gonna be honest with you, got used to that feeling real quick, making all that extra money on eBay. And so I think there's probably been some slowdowns. People who've paid attention to their store and kind of know what they should be running over the years, they probably could tell you that it's maybe not as hot as it was, but it's been pretty darn good for me. But I can tell you, we can maybe get into that later. I can tell you why it probably has happened. I think a lot of times it's not just one thing that's happened. It's probably multiple things that are happening, and so people feel a thing, and it feels like that's the reason why I'm getting sales, or that's the reason why I'm not getting sales, and it's probably instead of just being like one thing, it's probably like a multitude of things kind of converging to create the perfect storm. What's up, Leroy? I saw you pop in there.
What's going
Look,
on, guys? Can you guys hear me?
we got another guest. Yeah, Leroy. We can hear you. Did you freeze out?
Yeah.
You all right?
No, I'm good. Can you hear me?
You sick?
No.
Okay. Your internet's acting funny.
You guys can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I got a lot to say.
Yeah, I can't hear you now.
Can't hear you now at all.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I could hear you a minute ago. I can't hear you now. Ran him off.
He got internet issues over there on that side.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back.
I've been having some of those myself, and it's hard to get. I got business internet.
Also, something else I thought about too is because people wasn't able to go out to work, they had to find another way for income, and I think reselling became that for a lot of people. And so I think the business side of it, as far as sellers, there's more sellers now than there was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think numbers probably show that the number of sellers swelled, and I think that's actually kind of equalizing and kind of going back the other way now. I think people are getting back to work, and reselling is not easy. If you think you just, my dad told me when I was a kid, there's no such thing as easy, free money. There's no such thing as easy money. Everything you get, comes from sweat equity. And I think it's not that you can't hit some stuff every now and then and feel like, yeah, I hit the jackpot here, but for the most part, it's work and it's a grind. And I think that some of those people who jumped in at the height of it are experiencing the work part, the really work hard side of it. And they're like, yeah, it's easier to make money working for the insurance company.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Leroy, how's your day been, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Perfect. Touchdown.
Okay, good, not bad. I got a lot to say on that whole other part. So, Brad, how long have you been on eBay?
I was telling Chris there that January will start year 24 for me.
Yeah, on this particular, because I had a couple different accounts. On this account, I'm 11 years, but I've been in for about 20 years, and like you said, like it goes up and down. Like you said, it's not just one thing; it's multiple things that will help you with your store. There's a few key things that they want you to do, and if you don't do them, you go on. Not saying you go on the bottom, but you go on the bottom. The other thing I feel is COVID. I hate to say it.
His internet's not going to let him say it.
It is so bad.
Oh, there it goes.
Now it can be a stay-home society, and eBay was great at one point, and now because they feel like they didn't lose. eBay is not a money spender. They will spend money when they have to, but eBay doesn't spend a lot of money. And they realize that their business still kicking, and they're in 1 and 2 in the top, and they haven't lost anything, they dropped everything back. The more stuff we put on eBay, the more memory they use. The more pictures we put on eBay, the more memory they use. The more color, if we put a color background, now we're using AI, the more memory they use. The more memory they use, the more money they have to spend. In the beginning, it was, and I know Brad, you'll stand for me in this, it was full description, just basic description, full title, basic description, white background, because the white background doesn't take up a lot of memory. And now everybody's using all this other stuff, and I think they have to switch their money towards that end. So the customer service went to the craps. Like the customer service, they don't care. The customer, we make them money, but if they don't have buyers, they don't make money. And they are spending a little bit more money on commercials, certain parts of the year, and sometimes on the internet. But not to speak about it, it's my only platform, guys. So I'm not saying this to be like an eBay.
I'll be right back. Right back.
It's my only platform, so I definitely I'm team eBay all day. But at the end of the day, if you don't do what eBay wants you to do, I mean, it's just like the baseball coach. If you don't do what the baseball coach wants you to do, guess what? You're not playing.
Yeah.
Brad, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna start next year. I'm gonna get rid of some of the lower item stuff. The lower item stuff gets no views. It gets no views. The stuff the higher end stuff, I'm not saying it gets more views, but I do better with certain stuff. I mean, I can't keep a Milwaukee anything, and I don't sell power tools, but Milwaukee Craftsman, I can't keep it. It's the known names. I could have a diamond pair of pliers called Diamond, and they're only by collectors. They're not sold often, and they'll sell, but it's not crazy. So you got to look at. I think next year, I want to look at my numbers better. I've been focusing a lot more on the flea market, cash money. Numbers, knowing my numbers, I listed today, like I listed 12 things. I promise you those 12 things didn't even come up to $150. Some of them were $8, some of them were $14. I mean, if you go through my store, I can show you that stuff sells. But it's hard making a living like that.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think with eBay, there's just multiple. There's always just multiple things going on, and if you look at earnings reports and listen to the the investors call and those kinds of things, and reports they put out, it's pretty clear that eBay has lost some buyers, and they've lost some sellers, but they're still making more money. And a lot of that's coming from promoted listings. They're finding creative ways to.
They're never going to sell out. They're never going to sell out. They're not worth sellout price would be. When these new companies come in and they sell out within 2 or 3 years, it's because these investors know what the potential is. eBay is never going to go back up. Like I'm saying, huge. Something else is going to take its place, but eBay is just that. It's just that back dog has his feet down, and it just keeps.
It's an institution. It's an institution at this point.
Yeah,
it's like
20 years, Amazon, eBay. I mean, and that's one of my problems with. If none of you guys know, I am on a couple of the shows. I'm on Reselling Information Network, and it's really hard for me to go and jump into another platform because I'm so old school. And like it's hard. It's hard for me to go. I've been doing flea markets and I've been doing eBay for 20 years. And even Chris has been picking with me, and he saw me at one of my auctions. I've been picking that way at the auctions for 20 years. I've been using that site to find the auctions for 20 years. Like I'm a little stuck in my ways.
Hey, them books I picked up at that auction?
Yeah.
I got 2 left.
Good for you.
You paid all them books.
It was supposed to be mine. He stole them from me.
No. You got the rest of the wall.
If you look at my receipt, so what they did was they double charged us, Brad. So if you look at my receipt, it says top shelf and books. If you look at his receipt, it says books. So he paid $5 for them, and I was under the impression it didn't sell, and I have books too. So when he told me he had them, and he showed me the receipts, like, Leroy, that's the only thing I get.
But you had another good weekend after that, didn't you?
Recently I did with the tools.
Yeah. Your birthday weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, the one. Yeah. I went to a state sale and cleaned up on some tools. So yeah, no, I don't care. Have you, Brad? So what's your background? I'm sorry if I don't know a lot about you, buddy. I see you all over the place, but what's your background?
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'd love to hear more about you guys too. So I'm actually a pastor of a church here, and I've been doing that for
another pastor. I got like 9 pastors in the circle.
Yeah. Hey, God's trying to tell you something, Leroy.
Yeah.
Now that's
Listen, Brad. I go to church 3 times a week, and I serve in the ministry every week.
He wants
Yeah,
more,
Leroy
Leroy.
works.
So I'm good.
Leroy works in the video ministry of his church, also, Brad. That's what I do.
Yeah.
In my church,
Yeah.
and he does it. He's
Yeah.
the what department is it, Leroy?
I'm in
Shader.
shading
Shading.
for the videos for like production almost. So it comes from the camera into the director. Before it gets to the director, it stops by me. And because it's a mega church, and because there's a lot of lighting and everything changes, the colors have to be faded in and out and darkened and lightened every 30 seconds because it's crazy. Like when you got LED walls, when you got, goodness gracious, probably 50, 70 feet of LED walls, 14 feet high, and then you have lights and then you got people jumping and dancing all around. That changes the color every 30 seconds. It's probably more than 30 seconds. It's like it just changes the color. Somebody will come up. Our congregation is mainly black, but a Caucasian person will come up and I have to change everything. Or or we'll have blacks come up with white shirts on and I'll have to change everything. So I never, like, that's not who I am. I don't do that kind of stuff. God put me there. Anyway, let's not get into this whole thing.
No. Yeah. So actually, to give you the little quick rundown here is so I worked for a decorating company for a lot of years, and did mainly like floor covering and stuff, and so I did that, and I like to joke that I've always been a full-time pastor. I've just made my money other places.
Yeah.
Having to work a regular job. But
Yeah.
that's kind of how eBay kind of comes into the picture. I've had that account and been, when I said, when I was telling Chris before you got on that, I wasn't hardcore selling for 24 years, but off and on, I would, sell some things.
Yeah.
I remember when my kids was little, I saw we had a local store called Hastings. It was a bookstore. And they had these Star Wars. I don't know if you've ever seen the Sandcrawlers from the original Star Wars. That they had these toys, and they were like $65 or so, and they kept going down in price. They were putting them on clearance. And then I went in there one day, and they were $12 a piece, and there was 3 of them left, and so I bought all 3 of them. I gave one to my son, and I was like, I can sell those other 2 on eBay and pay for the one I bought. And that's kind of how that was kind of my first dip into like flipping something. And it's like, well, dadgum, that worked really well. And then, being a pastor and just trying to find some ways to supplement and make money, I started making these. I would take and make these foam NASCAR numbers. They were one of a kind, so they weren't like mass produced, but it was like it's almost like a piece of artwork. Which I don't know if the rules on intellectual property and all that stuff has changed at this point, but and how you can do things. But back then, if it's like a one of a kind artwork piece, you could make it and you could sell that. And so I was doing that. I got one in there. If we do this again, I'll pull it in and show you. They're pretty cool. But I was doing that, and in the meantime, my wife was she was homeschooling our kids, and then I started ramping up eBay probably around 2015, 2016. That's whenever I kind of started first seeing resellers on YouTube, and for whatever reason, the algorithm on YouTube led me down that rabbit hole. And I would see things, and I would be like, okay, this is something I can do. It works good with my lifestyle because as at the time as a pastor, it's like, there's just stuff that comes up, and it's just hard to have like it's hard to have a 9-to-5 job, and then just stuff comes up, whether it's funerals or sickness with people, whatever, and you have to help out.
Yeah.
And so reselling it was a way that I could work at it, and I could, make money, not passively, you're working for it, but stuff selling. And then if I had to drop it for 3 days or 4 days at a time to go take care of, an emergency, somebody's got something going on, I could do that. I could still get everything shipped out if it's old, no problem. And then, I could jump right back in after that and do that. And so that's happening. And my wife is homeschooling our kids. And then she gets the last one graduated. And then she's kind of like, okay, so, and she's, been a housewife, homeschool, that whole thing. And she would work, her family has a business. They run fruit stands. And so, during different parts of the season, she would go work at that. But once she got the kids graduated from school, it's like, and then she's like, okay, now I can go do something too. And it took her a while to warm up to doing eBay, but then she did. And, I'll have to say, honestly, she does probably, 85 to 90% of the actual like work as it comes to listing and all that. And I do all the shipping. For us, it's a way we can spend time together when we go out sourcing, we'll pick a day and go out sourcing. So as a family, we get to be together and work together and play together, all that.
So your wife helps you.
I help her. No, so I worked really hard to get it built up, and once she finally jumped in, and she kind of, like most people, that are getting into it at first, the shipping side of it intimidates people. I don't know how to ship, but that's one of the reasons people say they can't do online sales. Just all the stuff that you have to learn
Nobody
to do it.
Says they have problems shopping.
I know, right?
You don't have a problem shopping.
Everybody loves that part.
Nobody says it. I have a hard time shopping. No.
I'll say it. I got a hard time shopping.
Yeah.
No,
so that's kind of our journey though, and that's how it's kind of ramped up over the years, and it's just been one of those. It worked out well with our lifestyle, and I shouldn't lose connection, but I got the way I got really hardcore started was probably 2015. Even though I had made things and sold them and flipped some things occasionally that I would find them, really ramped up around 2015. You guys ever heard of the Christian rock band Petra?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I had a bunch of their stuff from when I was a young man. I had some of their stuff, and I put it up on an auction on eBay, and it sold for about $250. And I just immediately, the plan was to take that stuff and to flip it. And so everything we've done since then has been born out of that original, $250 flip. So
can I ask you a question?
Sure, man.
Did you tithe off of that $250?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I want it to be blessed, man. I wanted it to be blessed.
Right. Yep. Look, Sue says that she's trying to be good and just shopping her death pile. I guess.
Hey, I want 100%. Yeah, I feel that, Sue.
Yeah, I do too.
My wife told me the other day, we've got enough stuff that if we don't get anything else, I've got enough work to last probably to like April.
But it's hard though when you go out. It's like an addiction. It's like an addiction to go to a thrift store or a yard sale or something. It's absolutely an addiction. And as soon as you walk in that thrift store, man, it's just like you should have never walked in there because you're walking out with something. And
I walked out with this. I walked out with this the other day. Look at that. That's a Mark Roberts collection. So apparently, it's like, anytime I see something funky or whatever, it's like, I got to check that out. But you're right. This is what happened when I walked in a thrift store the other day. So,
yeah, this is what happened when I walked in, when I was at the flea market the other day.
Now that's cool.
That's sweet. That's awesome.
Right? Yeah, that's
the
cool.
guy was selling it for a quarter. He was selling for a quarter. What do I do? Like,
look at this. I went to the thrift store and I come out with this thing. I mean, I should have never went in. You know what I mean? It's a Hello Kitty sweater, and I've had it for a couple of weeks, but maybe a week.
So,
or so.
Brad,
I don't know. It's been hanging up there a little while, but I still should have never went in there because I got.
Yeah, a place called Estill Springs. It's in Tennessee. It's about halfway between Chattanooga and Nashville.
Oh, I must have went through there. I went to Dickerson.
That's when you went to the 127, right?
No, I went to Dickerson. Do you know what you ever hear of Dickerson?
I'm not sure. Where'd you pass on the way to it?
So I went up to Crossville. No, Crossville? No, I went up to
Crossville?
Wait, that's where you went and get your
Chattanooga?
bins, isn't it, Leroy?
Yes. I came up through Georgia, and I came
Went
up.
up
I don't know where I
75.
came up 75.
Yeah, you went up 75.
and then-
Yeah.
What's up? What's a big city? Chattanooga, isn't it?
Yeah, Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed a little left of Chattanooga, a little right of Chattanooga, and then Dickerson is a little lower towards the west of Nashville.
Okay. All right. I got you. Yeah. It's like off of Interstate 40 if you're going towards Memphis. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I went there to go get my bins about probably about 2 months ago now. So the next question is, you didn't get hit with, I mean, you're talking to me, but there was a storm near you? Because the storm hit up that way last week.
Yeah, that was north of Nashville in a place called Clarksville. It's pretty close to the Kentucky line. We the drummer, one of the drummers at our church, it was about a quarter mile or so from his house where it ran through. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was close to where I picked up the bins.
Yeah, I think it took a path right through Dixon up through Clarksville and that whole window from Murfreesboro to Clarksville.
Yeah, it is. It's Dixon. It's Dixon.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I drove up that way to get. This is how crazy. You probably heard the story. I went from Spartanburg to there to get totes for the flea market to sell at the flea market. Not to sell at the flea market, but so I can sell my stuff at the flea market.
Yeah. I think the first time I saw you on a video with the Reseller Information Network, I think I heard you telling that story. I came in. I'll tell you what, here's one of the crazy things I think, just totally unrelated, but just about YouTube, is that I've been, watching YouTube all these years, and I'm starting to see people I've never seen before. And it's always weird. It's cool that there's just new people to experience, like meeting Chris and all that was born out of, I just happened to be in a working hangout with Tim through List Perfectly. And that's how I met Tim. And through Tim, really got connected to the Reseller Information Network and all that.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I've been around for.
I was going to tell Sue something here real quick. She was talking about she was trying to do good at shop in her death room. I like that. She's got a death room. I had death piles, but I got a death loft. Sue, you can watch.
Yeah, but it tried to kill him yesterday.
Yeah, Leroy, did you know about that?
No.
Leroy, did you hear about that? I fell out of my loft yesterday on my left shoulder, man. I couldn't do anything yesterday. I was hurting so bad. I fell straight back out of this thing up here, man. I'd sold one of them them golf swingers, and they're in my loft. And I went up there, and of course I'm here by myself. Austin and Tammy went to the store, and I just went up there, and got my thing, and I was coming back down. And I guess I slipped or something, and I just fell straight back off the top of the thing and went all the way to the floor, and I landed like on this shoulder right here. I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. I'm still sore, but not as bad as I was yesterday. But I'm too old to be falling that far, man.
Yes, I'm too
old and too fat.
Yeah.
But I was going to tell Sue if she can. Oh yeah, okay. So you've seen it? Have you watched the unboxing? Death Mobile some days. I got a section of on my YouTube channel, Sue, where I unboxed a lot of them boxes in the loft, and I still got more up there. I just haven't done that. They're smaller boxes, and it's just random. I kind of know what's in those, so I haven't done I do have 3 more boxes that I'm going to be doing. That's going to be coming out of my storage unit, and they're real tall. when you go to Home Depot, when you get them moving boxes where you can hang clothes in, it's got the bar in them. Well, I got 3 of those without the bar, and they're full of stuff that I got to get out of my storage unit. And I'll be doing an box opening on those, video on those when I get to them. I'm still going through stuff in the loft. So,
Chris has been in my place. He's seen I have death everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Leroy, I have a question for you. I have a question for Leroy. Leroy, that chainsaw, you put that and mailed it in that crate, correct? In that tote? Let me ask you a question. What was shipping on that?
Like $22.
Or who did you use? Did you
UPS.
use UPS or somebody else? UPS?
Yes,
Okay.
it was like $22. It was $22. Went to New York.
I didn't see it. I was watching you doing that the other day. Did you wrap the outside of it with the saran wrap too?
No, nope. So
Okay.
And that sucker put a blanket around it.
The gas tank could have been full of gas. You would have never known. It was. I wrapped those things. I wrapped it in the foam paper. Then I wrapped that in saran wrap. Then I put the blanket around it. Wrapped the blanket in saran wrap. Then I forgot what else I put in a bag. No, put it in a bag first. So it's just like 6 layers. The guy's gonna hate me.
Yeah. I think I posted in a chat like your guy's gonna hate you.
But I'll tell you, those totes are cheaper. They're cheaper than getting a box. And when you're doing motors and saws and anything like that, I've been using them for about 5 or 6 years. Because I get them for $3 or $4. They're cheaper than for anything else. And I just add 5 pounds on the shipping. Because that's all. I mean, maybe about 8 after I really dress it. But when you're doing something that's 22 pounds, what's another 8 pounds?
Yeah.
Probably it's probably dimensional shipping too. So you might have some more pounds to spare. So hey, I was going to say something. When you was getting ready to come on, I went and subscribed to your channel there, Chris, and I watched.
Thank you.
Clicked into a couple of your Pickin and Grinnins. The other guy, Brandon, that's his name. Is he the guy on District that is baubles and ball cards by any chance?
I'm not sure what his name is on District, but he is on District. Leroy, do you know?
I don't know what his name is on District. I think it's
is
just
his name. Is it Brandon Edwards? Is that his name, Brandon Edwards?
I'm not
possibly.
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, it tripped me out.
He must be busy because he's usually in here. I've sent him the link. Same time I sent y'all the link, so he must be busy tonight. It's the reason he's not here.
I was going to tell you though, it tripped me out. So I play guitar, and there's this guy. There's this guy on the internet that I watch. He's a session musician. He's played on like tons of music you've heard, I'm sure. But his name is Tim Pierce. And I promise you, when I saw that video, I thought, how did Chris get Tim Pierce on his video? Look, you'll have to look it up. You'll have to go on YouTube and look up Tim Pierce. Tim Pierce. He does. He's an older gentleman. He just looks like 540 Flips is who he looks like. And their affect and their sound is even very similar. Their mannerisms and everything are kind of close. It's tripping me out when I saw it. At first, I was like, because I didn't see a name, I didn't see Brandon or whatever on there. I just saw 540 Flips. I'm like, is Tim Pierce like a reseller on the side? What's happening?
He must be busy because he's usually pops in a few minutes after it starts. He must be busy today, which is fine. But I wanted to talk to him today too because I'm looking. My wife told me no. I'll tell you that now, but I'm looking into getting involved in something else with reselling to resell. I'm starting to look into diecast, and there's so much to learn with diecast. So I started researching Hot Wheels and what do you look for in Hot Wheels? And of course, it's the treasure hunts and then the super treasure hunts. And then, so those things right there, they're easy to find because the markings on the packages and all that. Well, then I learned about a product. I was watching Pocket Change the other day, and Jimmy was talking about how he picked up a die-cast Star Wars minifigure that was the flying. I can't even think of the ship that it's called. I'm a Star Wars fan. Can't even think of the ship. But anyway, he was talking about how it had a chase sticker on it, and I was like, "Huh?"
Wow.
And see, and now I didn't know what a chase sticker was. I had no idea, and I'm like, "What's a chase sticker?" And then it hit me that I was watching a. I had two things hit me at the same time. The first thing was I had a green light Garbage Pail Kid car, and I can't remember, it was a Cadillac or something like that. Well, when I bought it to resell, well, when I looked it up on eBay, it said Chase. Well, being a dummy that I am, I'm thinking of saying chassis. Okay, so there's how stupid I am. All right, so I listed with something with the chassis because it looked exactly like the other car, with the exception of a couple things after I went back and looked. So I had a guy message me. He says, "That's not a chassis, that a chase." He said chase, but I'm reading it chassis. So I'm like, this guy's dumb. What's going on here? So I never paid attention to it. Well, I ended up selling that car on District at the auction the other day. You know, I didn't get anything too close to what I was asking for it on eBay, but it was okay. I got rid of it. No big deal. I did make a couple of dollars off of it. No big deal. So I was good with it. Well, because I thought that was a dead thing, because I've had those cars forever. So I was just trying to get rid of them. Well, so that hit me. And then it hit me that I was watching a Whatnot auction on diecast, because I've been starting to watch the diecast, and the guy said something about an M2 Chase car, and I'm like, what? Wait a minute. And so then I watched another Hot Wheels, and when the guy was doing a 30-day thing for Hot Wheels, he found an M2 Chase car and showed it. Well, the Chase stickers no longer are being placed on M2. Yes, the pink Cadillac. You're right, Sue. That's it. The pink Cadillac. So the Chase stickers are no longer on the M2 cars. So you have to find them by what they look like, or there should be 750 on the car, is what I've been told by YouTube. Well, I'm going to show you this. So my wife went out today, and of course, she goes into Walmart, and she messaged me she messaged me and she says, "I found 3 Chase cars." I was like, "No way." She says, "Yeah." And so it's an M2, and see, it's got this 750 right there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let's see. It's got the 750 up there. There. Okay. So, and then here's another one. All right, and they all got the 750 Chase wrote on top of the car. Okay, so on YouTube, now this is a prime example. Don't listen to everybody on YouTube, because we all don't know what we're talking about. We're just going through our experiences. All right, so on YouTube, I've been watching, and the guy says, yeah, that's how you find out if an M2 car is a Chase, by the numbers on the car, because they don't put the stickers on there. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. So I talked to a collector today that was in Whatnot when I was running a show, and he actually messaged me, and he sent me a picture of this car being a Chase, and he sent me a picture of this car being a Chase. These two and this other one are not Chases, and the biggest difference is you guys see the wheels there, like chrome looking? Well, there should be the color of the car, like a bluish color there. And the same thing with this one. This should be a different color, or like a color that's going to match the inside of the car. So now I have 3 cars that are worthless. And $21 later. But I want to get right. Well, see, I'm learning something about diecast, and I want to get into diecast. So I got to go back and do a little more research on that. My show today that was on Whatnot was all diecast, which was pretty cool. I found a lot of cool stuff there, but Whatnot's Whatnot, you know. So So I need to find me a die-cast collector. I need to find a die-cast collector to invite to the show. If anybody comes across a die-cast collector, if there's a die-cast collector watching, please send me a comment in the comments below so I can find you, because I got a lot of questions for you, buddy. When I find me a die-cast collector.
Yeah,
Leroy, Leroy's frozen, isn't he? Oh, there he goes.
I can't hear him.
No, okay. I don't think
he's
talking.
muted there. He's muted.
Oh, okay.
The thing about wanting to find, diecast, that's just the thing about when you find something new and, you just got to jump into it. And sometimes we joke about, we're just paying for an education at first, but you find out real quick. And I think the other, one of the things that's been real helpful for us, it's not applicable for everybody, but where they're sourcing at or the kind of things that they're into. But one of the things that's kind of helped us is, so we'll sell anything, but we probably 90% of what we do is toys. And so we've kind of we came across Playmobil, and we kind of got into to buying that, and we've just kind of been it was selling for us, so we kept leaning into it harder and harder, kind of like Leroy with tools. It's like the longer you do a thing, the easier it gets. The more you do a specific thing, especially, it just gets, what you're looking for. Most people, you might see it at a yard sale and would look it up, and they wouldn't see what we see when we see it. When we see it, it's like we know, that'll be a good thing for us, even if the comps don't look like it's going to be a good thing. We know it's what it's going to be. I think the other thing that happens too is, or this is what we found, and I think maybe the future of eBay for a lot of people might look like this, is that if you do find a thing that you enjoy doing and you're good at, and you can kind of niche down on it a little bit, I think the more you sell in a very specific category, the more eBay rewards you. I think, for all the knocks on eBay that people throw out there, at the heart of it, they want to sell things. And if there's something you're selling that when people look at it in your store, or when they see it on eBay and they buy it from you, and you're selling in that category, I think eBay, I don't know what their algorithm is. I definitely believe their algorithm is going to reward you with more. They're going to send more people to you for that particular thing. And then plus you start getting repeat customers from it. And so, I just think that's a big thing. So
I have one repeat customer.
That being said, I still pick things up like this when I see them. And I'm like, why did I do that?
I have one repeat customer, and you know what he buys? He buys them old, we all old enough to know this. The square that holds a 9-volt battery flashlights, the old square ones that were plastic. They're Ryovac, I think that's what they are. That screwed.
Are you talking about the big old batteries?
Yes.
Yeah.
The old big flashlights, the Ryovac. I got one guy that every time I list one, he buys it because he's a collector of them, and he's my repeat customer. That's the only repeat customer I got. So I always pick those up because I know I got one person that's going to buy them. Yeah. Always. And I know what he buys them for. I know what he pays for them, so I know what to get them at too, because he's got a max on his, and I pretty much hit the good price point for him. Me and him worked at a good price point, and so I've sold him probably 15 of them things. So I've done really, really good with those.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
Let's talk about Playmobil. I don't even know what Playmobil is. I didn't hear the first time I heard about it is through District when you was talking about it in the chat, and I'm like, what is Playmobil?
Yeah, I'll grab one. But first off, we're both saying it wrong. I say Playmobil all the time, but I think it's actually Playmobil. It's just a second. I'll grab one here.
All right.
It's a German toy, and it's a little bit like Lego in that you when you buy them, you have to put them together, but they're just real simple. You've probably seen seen them and didn't even realize what you's looking at. And they always have the smile. You know, the guy who made them, he wanted to create.
Show that up.
There
you go.
Yeah. The guy that created it, he wanted to, he wanted to be like very, very pleasing to children. So they always have a smile, and, you know, they're never going to be
You
like
can change
smirking.
the hair, right?
What's that?
Can you change the hair?
Yeah. Like I said, it's kind of hard to get off, but you can interchange like Lego and stuff like that. You kind of there's an element of building to it, but you know, for most people, it's probably going to be not out of their wheelhouse to pick it up. But the way we do it, we've got so much of it, and we can mix and match it. And the older stuff is better. And
how often do you find it?
If you're looking for it, you find it pretty often. You can find it in pretty big lots. But that's the thing, you know, we'll pay $450, $500, which automatically, you know, prices a lot of people out of picking it up, you know. And honestly, if you don't have the room to spread it out and work with it, it's just going to be a headache for you.
You got a marking on those? Identifiable marking?
It might say, you're asking a guy who can't see anymore.
Want to borrow my glasses?
They do have, yeah. They do have markings on the feet and stuff, but I don't even know if it actually says like Playmobil on the characters. It may have it there. Some things have it, some things don't. But it has a very distinct look. And
okay.
Yeah. But there's if it's
like you said, when you get into a certain category and you stay in that category 80% of the time, stuff will jump at you. Like, I go to the flea market twice a week and stuff jumps at me, and like nobody else seen it. I mean, you're talking $300-$400 items, and nobody. I mean, you got some good pickers at these flea markets. I mean, I know some guys that are amazing. They can pick me apart, but you know, I still can outpick them when it comes to what I'm good at.
Yeah.
I think I've been getting really good at doors and hardware stuff with like the vintage stuff, like the doorknobs and the wall plates, and I've been crushing it with that stuff, and I get it for 10 cents.
Yeah. You know, that's the other thing, you know, he's talking about, you know, YouTubers being negative. You know, there's definitely a section of that out there. You know, I've heard some people that actually enjoy watching, but you know, they'll say that, you know, like YouTube resellers are ruining the reselling community. And I think it's just one of those things. There is so much stuff out there. I mean, that if you know, there's enough for everybody and then some, you know, and the then some part is going to the landfill. So there's opportunity out there.
You know, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you know this about me or not, Brad, but he's talking about landfills. I sell broken electronics. Guess where I get them from? I get them out of a dumpster. And they sell. Believe it or not, people will buy that and repair it, and then they put. I got a lot of times when I do combo. The two things that I pick up are combo units or video game consoles. Whenever I pick up a combo unit, I always find there's always somebody from hey Lisa, there's always somebody from a dealer. I want to call them a dealership, but a dealership sounds like a car place, but a dealer that sells that type of stuff new, and they're buying it from me cheap to fix and then sell it for $300-$400, you know. And for me, it's people are like, why do you do that? And I says, well, it's like picking up a $50 bill at the dump. You know, I go pick the thing up, I put it on my desk, I don't even plug it in. I just take a picture of it, take all pictures all the way around it. I don't even clean it or nothing. Well, if there's dirt on it, I'll wipe the dirt off, but I'll take pictures of it, you know, and I'll be like, parts or repair, $50. There it goes. You know, sometimes $30, depending on what it is. But it's like just picking up a $50 or $30 bill at the dump, out of a dumpster. I mean, so some people don't like. I've gotten bad comments about doing that, saying that I'm ripping people off. I'm not really ripping nobody off because I'm telling
No.
them it's parts or repair.
Yeah, I think.
And Leroy's actually taught me how to sell. Check this out. I sold a boat on eBay about 4 weeks ago. A boat, and it's an inflatable kayak boat. It's one of those that's got the pontoons on the side with a seat in the middle. Okay, I sold it. It had everything in it except for the hardware. The brand new, that thing goes for $400. I sold it for $200. I think it was $250. So somewhere around, I think it was $200. That's what it was. The guy sent me an offer. He says, I'll give you $200 for it right now. He says, if I have to invent the hardware for it, I'll do it for $200. And I sold it to him. Shipped that sucker to New York. His 50-pound box went UPS. It was a boat. It wasn't doing me no good. Didn't have no hardware for it.
Yeah.
So that's something I could tell Leroy. Leroy showed me. He told when I went up to visit him. He was showing me all this stuff. What inspired me is he had a lawnmower that he could have sold on Marketplace for $25, but he broke it down and sold the parts. How much did you make off that lawnmower, Leroy? I don't know if you said anything or not. 200. Okay. So and he turned 25 into 200. So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just
it takes me about an hour and 20 minutes to take it apart. The motor alone I almost bought one today. The motor alone is $80. I can't get $30 for it running, but I could take the motor off and sell for $80 on eBay. I put it in one of those totes. It goes right in one of those totes. I make a block, and I drill a hole in the block so the shaft doesn't damage through the tote. So the damage of the shaft, the weight of the shaft to go is blocked in, and that's it. Like, it's crazy. But I do got to run, guys. I told the family I would be home by 7:15.
Oh yeah.
So, Brad, I hope you come back. Brad. I appreciate you coming on. But I do got to run, and Chris, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Take it easy, man.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, Leroy.
Yeah. I'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah. We had a question there in the chat, Chris, about the is this the regular time? Let's see. Let me see that. This is the regular. Yeah. It's Lisa.
Oh, yeah. Lisa, yeah. I am so sorry. Okay. Yeah. I changed the time. I'm sorry. Remember, it was Fridays, but now we're going to Thursdays at 6 p.m. The reason being is what started it was Scott Bearded Picker. He started it all. The reason why is because he wasn't available on Fridays. I really wanted him on the show to talk with him, so I changed it to Thursdays because I found out that Thursdays actually more feasible for a lot of other people too. So that's why we're doing Thursdays at 6 p.m. And of course, that doesn't cut in my football time on Fridays night. So so we're okay with that.
You said Bearded Picker. Is he the guy that's got that paper tape machine? You know what I'm talking about?
Bearded, I don't know. Bearded Picker. He's the one.
Does he sell a lot on Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's the guy that he's got this big tape machine that uses that paper tape. You put it in there, it's just like big brown paper rolls, like when you get an Amazon box, that tape that's on those. Right. And he's got, it's like, it'll just like, if you need a 10-inch piece of tape, it's got a number he hits and it spits out, and I think it wets it or activates the glue that's on it so you can put it on the thing.
Oh, okay.
That is the niftiest thing. I've considered dropping money to buy one of those. Yeah, I think that's the guy. Yeah. I think he's the guy that's got that. Is he like from Huntsville or something?
Yeah, he's a huge Bama fan. Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, I know it, man. I had to poke at him, but I did send him a message. I sent him a message because he was on the Thursday before the Georgia and Alabama game. And I sent him a message and told him congratulations and stuff. It was a good game. Football's football. I don't want to get into it. Much like you don't want to get into yours either. But
breaks your heart, man.
Oh yeah, it does. But we was talking about what we sell. So that Play Mobile, are
Yeah.
you able to sell just pieces, or do you have to have complete sets, or how does that work?
No, it parts out well, and that's where
It does part out well.
the work of it is one, there's so much of it, knowing what goes with what and all that. That's the learning curve you got to get into. If you're starting out, I don't think I'd recommend somebody to do that. But if you find a set of it, it'll sell incomplete pretty well and stuff like that. But yeah, it's one of those things that we know, just by looking at it, whether it's something we can part out. Some of it
Right.
parts out at higher prices than other. If you don't mind selling smaller, I know there's a lot of talk about average sales price and things like that, but I hadn't looked at our sales today, but I guarantee you if we sold 20 things, probably 15 of them are Playmobil. So for
Really? Wow.
for us, yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But we got a lot of it.
Yeah. See, I like parting stuff out too. And this goes back to the pandemic era. I remember during the pandemic era that you could take an Oster blender, and they have the glass. They got the glass. Crap. What do you call that thing? The jar, the thing that you blend everything.
I don't know if it's the carafe or the carafe or the
whatever it is. It's made of glass. All right.
I got one for a Ninja back here somewhere.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, and this is what got. And I'm gonna tell you, I came in just before the pandemic, but the pandemic era is what really sold me on eBay, and of course, I figured out after the pandemic era that, hey, we're probably back to normal, is what people call normal. It's been doing this for years. But man, I was selling them glass things without the blender, just replacement glass thing. I was selling them for as much blender picture. There you go, Lisa. That's right.
Yeah, thanks,
I was
Lisa.
selling them for just as much as a blender would cost. And I'm like, why are people, what's going on? This is crazy. I sold, let me tell you the weirdest thing that I saw. Well, it's not weird. It just amazed me, is what it is. Okay, so everybody knows what a crock pot is. A lot of people don't use crock pots no more. They use these other gadgets, but I found I'll tell you a little bit about myself, Brandon, and because this goes with the story here. So before the pandemic era, I had my own construction handyman business. Okay, I was going around. I wasn't building new houses, but I was remodeling homes. I was building sheds, and I was doing all kinds of stuff construction wise, repairs, stuff like that. And so when the pandemic hit, lumber prices, I don't know if everybody remembers or not, but the lumber prices went absolutely through the roof. I mean,
I remember.
So but before the pandemic hit, when you would buy a two by four pack to build a new house, it'd roughly be around $3,000. Well, when the pandemic hit, that same packet would cost you $9,000. So that's how much it went up. So all my customers were elderly customers, because I was a handyman, and I had a lot of returning customers with that, mostly elderly people. I do a lot of work for them, repairs and stuff like that, because they've lived in their homes for years and they're falling apart. So you got to go build decks and repair decks and all that. Well, it got to the point to where they couldn't afford the materials to build, much less, and I wasn't charging no outrage price. I wasn't, much less pay me. So I couldn't do anything. So then I was losing work. So what I did was, I had a friend of mine that I don't think you would call it selling it to him, but I pretty much gave him all my contacts for the business. And when people call me, I would direct them to him. Well, during all that time, I kept throwing away, when I do remodels and kitchens and stuff, I would throw away all the appliances, just throw them away. And somebody told me one day, he says, why don't you just take it to the recycling place? I says, I do. I take it to the dump. And they says, no, the scrap yard. They'll pay you for that stuff. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. So of course, then I started watching YouTube on scrap metal, and I watched, what's the guy that goes dumpster diving? Man, my brain's just got a brain fog today. His name's Mike something or another. And Mike the Scavenger. I started watching him. And I was like, wow, people really do this. So during my construction time, while I was running that business, me and my son, we started scrapping metal on the side. I proposed a post on Facebook. I pick up free metal, whatever, man. My phone stayed blowed up picking up metal. So when I gave all my contacts for the construction business away, I started doing the metal business. And so I had I'm not going to say in a contract because it wasn't a contract, but I had an agreement with a thrift store. And this is even before I started thrifting, before I started reselling. I had a agreement with a thrift store that I put a big bin out their back door, all their appliances that they was going to throw away, their pots and pans and all that stuff, anything metal, electronic, anything, they would throw it in that big bin. And once a week, I go by and pick up that big bin, and then we'd separate everything and break everything down and then take it to the scrapyard. So one day, we went to a dumpster, and I found a black milk crate, and it was full of Hot Wheels, loose Hot Wheels.
Wow. Yeah.
Just full of it. And I had no idea. I said, oh, well, it's metal. That's what's going through my brain. I'm there scrapping the metal. You know what I mean? So what's going through my brain is, oh, they're metal. Yeah, that brain. Well, I got home with them, and I think it was my wife that said, hey, why don't you just sell those? I'm like, what? She says, people will buy them. And I says, oh, okay. So I looked up, I was looking on YouTube, and I typed in the thing I said, how to sell Hot Wheels. That's all I did, because I know nothing about them. And then, of course, a first video it pops up says, I made $1,000 in 1 week for Hot Wheels on eBay. And I'm like, eBay? What? So I started watching that video. The more I watched that video, that guy, I don't even remember who he was now because I only watched like 4 of his videos. Then I found Harry Tornado at the time. So I started watching Harry Tornado, and I'm just like, a whole new world just opened up for me, just like that. So that's what I did. I opened up an eBay account, and that was in 2019, and I started doing eBay. Now, to get back to the weirdest thing I sold during the pandemic, I was picking up, I was reselling, okay? I was still doing the scrap. I was trying to work my way out of it, and I would go to that thrift store because they were throwing appliances in the bin. Well, I was watching a guy called Osborne to Thrift on YouTube, and he would part out any kind of kitchen appliance there was. And so they was throwing them appliances in the bin. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go, part this stuff out. They actually throwed away cast iron pans also. All right. They're throwing away cast iron pans. Well, I sold those on Marketplace because I didn't know anything. I wasn't real hype on the shipping with eBay. I was still learning, but I will get into that too, how I figured that out. And then that's, if it wasn't for my wife, I'd still be struggling with shipping. And I'll explain that here in a little bit. But so I took a crock pot, and the knob on the crock pot that you adjust the temperature with, you can turn it off and on. Well, Leroy's got a question. Go ahead, Leroy. Whatever the question is, typed in Q. That knob, I sold it on eBay for $7 plus shipping. And I'm like, what? It's a knob on a crock pot. You put $10 more of that, and you could, the shipping cost. Well, no, it wasn't the shipping cost. You put double the shipping cost, so you could have bought you a new crock pot. So that just blowed my mind with that.
Yeah.
But that was my whole adventure in getting into reselling. And I ended up making really good money off the Hot Wheels. There was no red lines in them Hot Wheels, unfortunately. But there was some really cool cars. I ended up making, I think, over $350 on all them cars, if I recall correctly. sold a few separate, and then the rest of them I lotted them up and sold it off auction, and I ended up doing pretty good. But I'm going to tell you my first huge sale. Now that was all separate sales to equal up to about that. My first big sale was I watched, because what I used to do when I first got involved is I would buy everything that I saw other resellers on YouTube buy. So them yard sale videos, they were good for me because I was watching them. If they picked it up, I went and picked it up. So Josh was picking up aluminum bats at the time. Well, I went to a flea market. I found aluminum bat. The lady wanted 50 cents for it. I didn't know nothing about it. I says, all right, yeah, 50 cents. Heck, I can at least make $10, $15 off. That's not a problem. I get it home and research it. It's a Louisville slugger bat. It's not cracked. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's scratched. It's been used. You can rub that off with the magic eraser. Mm-hmm. But I got to researching it, and that particular bat sold for $700 brand new. Wow. And I was like, man, I had no idea what to do, Brad. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
Hey, aren't there those things that when you see them, it's almost just scary because you're like, you don't want to screw it up, but you got some.
That's so let me tell you what I did. So there was none others listed on eBay. None listed at all. The only one that was listed were brand new, and they had them priced $650, $700, even I think it was even $800. I mean, they were high, and I'm like, man, what do I do? So I says, well, you got 50 cents in it, $50. That's not going to hurt, So I put it on auction for $50. 7 days later, I sold that sucker to somebody in California for $365.
Yeah,
that was my plus shipping, and that was my first big sale. And I was just like, that hooked me. That was a hook.
And then, you spent the next 30 days being scared to death that somebody's going to try to return it.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, because I had a lot of questions. About that bat, man. Like, what is this? Why does it rattle? Does it do that? And I'm like, no, I don't do none of that. And you're right. I thought it was a scam because I got scammed for somebody in California about a week before I actually sold that thing over a Keurig. And I only got scammed because I was stupid. I didn't know nothing about none of that stuff. I had no idea. I just started. I was just dumb. I don't know if it was really a scam. I was just dumb. But
there's only one way to learn. Only one way to learn.
Oh yeah. My next biggest sale was 2 years ago, and it was a huge. So I started learning about blow molds or glow molds.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is, blow molds or whatever. But
I guess if you have more than one, it's molds.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So I found 4 of these blow molds, and they were elves. I almost said leprechauns, but they were Christmas elves, and they was probably about that. They was probably 2 foot tall, and there was 4 of them. And I found them at a thrift store, and they wanted $10 each for them. Well, I knew what they was. I knew people were selling them things for God's amounts of money, and at the time I'm thinking $100, that's what I'm thinking, for all 4 of them for $100, I could spend 40 for 100. I can do that. Maybe might even get 200 depending on what they go for. Well, I got them home. I bought all 4 of them, paid $40 for them. I got them home, and I did some research, and they was from the 60s. So, and this was before Christmas. All right. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get these listed. I didn't really list them. I didn't get them listed. And I waited, and then finally I went in my death pile one day. It was in January after Christmas, and I was like, are you kidding me? These things, I never listed them. I need to list them. So I went to a park, and I set them out in the park and got real nice, pretty pictures of them, out there, 1 week later, they sold for $780 plus shipping, and all 4 of them went to California. Yeah, all 4 of them did. So those are my 2 biggest sales ever. I've had some other $100, $200, $300 sales, but those 2 are just great. But let me tell you about the shipping part. I was going to tell you real quick. My wife has worked with the post office for over 20 years. And she got hurt back in 2011. She got in a real bad car accident. Yeah, the L's were. Yep, that sure was. So she got in a real bad car accident, and she was 3 millimeters away from severing her spinal cord. So she's been on disability and all that ever since stuff. Well, she's got over 20 years still in the post office, and if it wasn't for her teaching me how to ship, man, I'd still be like, man, what am I doing? Because shipping is just crazy. And see this new thing with District that we're doing with the flat rate shipping and then the adjusted rate or whatever it is after for the second, but that's completely it just blows my mind. But I'm slowly figuring it out,
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you something we did, and then I want to jump back on something you said in a minute, but one thing that we did specifically with my wife getting started that I think was real helpful. Now, I'll preface this by saying this. I don't think this is a good long-term plan. But one of the things we would do when she was starting out specifically, and she was worried about the shipping, is that when she would list an item, we'd go ahead and pre-pack it. And so, if we had this thing, instead of trying to, for her trying to now, she can do it and she knows what it's going to ship for. But, back in the day, it's like, there was just that hesitation, like, what if I get it wrong? So she would just go ahead and pre-pack that. Now, you had to have you already had to have your shipping supplies up front, and you do eat through more boxes up front. But it's a good way to learn pretty quick, because you can be confident that when you put that thing on the shelf, if it sells, that you're ready to go. And hey, Lisa, I am in Estill Springs. It's about halfway between Chattanooga and Nashville in Tennessee. But but you can be confident that, she could be confident when it sold, that, there wasn't any, all the shipping things in eBay were correct. And the other thing that was really helpful for her, and it really helped build up your trust with buyers really quick too, is you can ship it. All you have to do is basically stick a label on it and it's out the door. So you can be super fast on your shipping. But when you was talking about Osborne earlier, I watched Osborne too. And I think this is a good point about online selling. Like if you're having trouble, making sales and stuff like that, one of the things that, Osborne's killing it. If you watch I don't know if he's even still doing what he's doing now. I hadn't watched his channel in a long time, or if he even makes videos. I don't know.
I don't think he makes videos as much as he used to.
But yeah, that guy was killing it,
Oh yeah.
But I think there's a good principle there in what he does. Hello.
Right.
There's a good. You better answer that.
I've just been a message.
No, there's a good principle in the stuff with Osborne. I think a lot of people avoid the kind of items that he picks up. Whether it's they don't know about them or they're big bulky items to ship and things like that. And just the fact that he doesn't avoid those things. And I'm not saying everybody should do that, because I don't think there's a one size fits all thing for eBay, or online sales. But if you're trying to make sales, if you will go for the items that people don't want to go for, the things that people don't want to pack, the things that people don't want to have to ship, there's a lot of money sitting there. And if you'll find those things, like a guy like Tim, I watch him. He does, obviously Tim does a lot of glass, and he's amazing at just his knowledge and what he knows about it. But a lot of people avoid glass. If you can find the things that people avoid, and you can find your things to buy at a good price and to sell there, then you're going to be making sales. And
I think a lot of people avoid the glass because of the shipping glass.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I've been horrible, man.
And that being said, I don't like picking it up because, but I also don't mind shipping it. So when I find something good, I pick it up. But Tim's a great example. It's like, I don't think he has any fear about picking things up and as far as when it comes to shipping and stuff. And he's getting the items that a lot of people would avoid, and they might not avoid if they have like a antique booth or something they can put the things in. But as far as getting it, yeah.
Now that's what I want to. I want to try that. Okay, so all right, so I'm from Clayton, Georgia. Okay, and Clayton is in Rayburn County, and it's a tourist town. All right. Well, I'm only an hour away. I drive there every Sunday and Wednesday for church to do my video ministry at the church. I want to, after the first year, they have the consignment antique booths shops there, and they get so much traffic because it's a tourist town. I could get one for less than $150, a 5x10, I think it was, for less than $150 a month. And I want to try that. I really, really want to try that, because just like you said, the bigger items that we can't ship on eBay, we can put that in the store and sell it in a heartbeat. I mean, so that's just,
well, this guy don't give up, does he?
Who's that?
I said, this guy don't give up, does he?
Yeah, that's my pastor. I want to show something to Sue made a comment here, and I want to ask you something related to this comment. She says, I do calculated on everything, less pain for me. Okay, I do calculate on everything also. With that said, as sellers, we all know that sometimes, of course, with eBay, you get a discounted price if you're top rated, because seller, you get a discounted rate for shipping. So how far, or let me ask you this, how much of a difference in shipping do you let go and say, okay, I got to pay for my shipping supplies. This helps covers the promotion fees. How far out do you let it go over shipping before you start refunding your buyer a certain amount of that shipping? Because calculated ship, I do this all the time. I make money on calculated shipping. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I mean, and it's not very much, because it pays for the shipping supplies and stuff, is basically the way I look at it. Now, there have been times that there's been a $30 difference, and I've had to do something about that. But how far do you let it, to $10, $15 before you start?
No,
or $5.
Usually if it's within a dollar or two, I usually don't. But once it gets over $2, $3, $4, I try to refund shipping, and I just think it creates goodwill with. So I saw Sue has commented there. I do calculated on everything, less pain for me, and that's what we do. So my goal is there's a few things at play here. I'll kind of lay them out. I'm never trying to make money on shipping when it comes to the customer. So, but with that being said, we have a little bit of shipping surplus every single day. And so, I'm making a little bit of money, but by the time you buy supplies and stuff like that, you really didn't. But no, right. if it goes over a few dollars, I usually try to refund the shipping. Occasionally I'll forget, but for 99% of the time I do that. And the reason I do calculated shipping is because we have offers on everything, and I don't have to think about. That's the only reason. That's honestly probably one of the real reasons I don't do free shipping on things, is because there's no such thing as free shipping. Everybody knows that, first of all. But two, I don't have to consider the shipping price whenever I take an offer. And so that's the reason.
I used to do free shipping until we get into that part right there, the offers part, because that cuts into your shipping too. So now I do straight calculated shipping. And I'm going to tell you, Sue, the reason I asked that is I said something about a $30 difference. I sold a set of golf clubs like this year, like 3 months ago, I think it was. I sold a set of golf clubs, and the guy was in New York. He paid $62 in shipping. And when I saw that, I told my wife, I says, there's no way. Yeah. There's no way that costs $62 in shipping. It's just there's just no way. I ended up sending it UPS, and it did cost me right around $26 to ship. So I refunded, I think it was $30 is what I ended up refunding the guy for shipping. And I do weights every time I list. I got a scale that I set everything on, and I weigh it, and I try and get as close as possible with dimensions, because we all know the dimensions, they'll get you with the post office too. And I try and get it as close as possible. But every time, because I'm a top rated seller, my shipping is always within $1, maybe $2 less than what the actual person paid.
Yeah.
And I don't mind not refunding on that, for the simple fact that I got to buy the poly bags, boxes. Yeah. Some of the boxes we buy, some of them we get them from this USPS that are free, but for the most part, you got to buy your tape, so you got to buy your bubble wrap, so
yeah, all those things add up. I think it's one of those things that, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with not refunding shipping, and so I don't do it. The other thing too is that I can actually show you on the screen here. I ship everything. Yeah. I do bulk shipping on everything. So when I have orders, I'm not doing shipping one at a time. I'm doing, like, if I've got 15 orders, I'll do them all at once. But I
you
keep track.
You have a Rolo, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I got a printer that prints out the big sheet.
One of the things I do, though, is when you do bulk shipping, you can, whenever I click it up there, when I pull it up, it'll show you how much shipping is going to be on your items. And so I put that into a workboard. I've got a spreadsheet that I've set up. And then when I'm done doing all those items, I'll, put in what it actually cost me. And so I've got a pretty good surplus. I'll show you in just a minute, just from maybe from March until now, how much extra has been paid on shipping to me. And it probably has covered, everything I bought box wise and all of that. But, I don't really try to. There's just sometimes that whenever it's like what you were talking about, you'll see a number and you're like, there's no way it's going to cost that. The other thing too is we do a lot of combined orders, and we have people buying multiple things, and it's like the back end shipping calculator really doesn't know how to adjust for that. So, people might be paying us $25 shipping for something that's actually going to cost like, $8.75 to ship out. And so
I haven't had that big. Well, other than the $30 difference, usually
that's the nature of
right.
That's just the nature of
$15 is what you can get it.
Yeah, that's just the nature of us, though, in like selling items that people buy multiple things of quite a bit. So, all right, here, I'll show you this. I'll show you this shipping cost. Let me get it. I think I can present here, right?
I try to do combined shipping on my
share the screen.
Also.
Let's see.
Oh, you got to pull it up, and then I can add it in.
All right.
Oh, here we go. Let me see. While you doing that, Sue says, Chris, a thermal printer will change your life. I put it off, and now I don't know how to live without it. No need for high-end one. They all work the same. So, Sue, what kind of thermal printer do you have? I mean, I'm cheap. I'm not gonna lie. I'm cheap. If it works, if I can spend $50 and a sucker works, man, I'm good.
All right.
I don't need high-end stuff. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, but you can see. Let's see. I don't think I can scroll, but I'll scroll up here.
You can do whatever. Yeah, it scrolls.
Yeah,
whatever you do, we see.
Yeah, so I'm not sure when this started. You can see the first. I did stick some dates in occasionally here on the right. That was back in March. But for the year, I just keep a running total. Well, went too far. But you can see I've had a $912 surplus on shipping. Like this morning, just this morning when I shipped out, it was $60.91 was what it was showing when I pulled it up. And by the time I adjusted for, the ounces, a few ounces here and there to make it accurate, it had saved a couple of dollars. And so $252 on that overall shipment.
So you made $912 on shipping this year is what you're saying.
Yeah. And that's not like, you can see here. Let me pull it. Let me pop back
That's
on my
not
side.
that much for a 12-month period.
Yeah. You can see like, and that's about 9 months so far, and it's like, you can see on this particular order, like I bought 139. It was showing me $139 worth of labels, and it cost me 120. So I made about $18.75 on that shipment, but that was spread out over like 26 orders.
So, all right, yeah. So that's what I want to ask you. So, all right, with that number that we're looking at right here, the nine, whatever it was, how many orders is that?
I don't know. We probably average, and over the last 6 months, we've probably averaged 15 orders a day, maybe 15 to 20. Okay. And so that's, but those numbers are like, when I get up in the morning, I had 9 when I got up this morning.
You said 9 months.
That's over 9 months. Yes. But when I got up this morning, we had 9 orders. And I shipped all those, and then anything that sells after that throughout the day, I'll just go back in and keep adding to that, and so I can do a scan sheet for the post office at the end of the day. But it probably averages out about 15 orders a day. And
so 9 months, that's 4,000 orders in 9 months. Does that sound about right? At 15 orders a day.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I can pop over and actually look.
So when you look at that, here's what I want to say, so my viewers aren't confused, or not like saying, "Well, this guy's making $1,000 on shipping." No, he's not, because that's 4,000 orders. So you got bubble wrap, you got poly mailers, you got what else? Tape. You got all kinds of stuff, that you and so on 4,000 orders. $900 something is not even going to cover the materials for 4,000 orders. I mean, think about it. So I just want people to understand that too before they start saying, "Oh, well, he spends $1,000." No.
Yeah, and most of the time it's like, the difference. It grows over time. The difference could be, like if there's a pack of these, it's got 3 or 4 in them. My wife might list it at 8 ounces. It actually ships at 4 ounces, and I don't know what the difference is. That's maybe 25 cents difference, maybe, or something.
25-30 cent difference on that. Yeah.
But when you do that over 30 orders, that adds up, But I am not refunding 25 cents.
No.
But now I will refund $5. But
yeah. Sue, that's burped. I wrote that down in Amazon. You get that on Amazon. And Sue, do you have an affiliate with Amazon that I can use to get that? I'll be more than happy to use that if you do.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about that one. I think a lot of them are, they're a lot like the Rolo. I probably would have bought, something else if I hadn't bought that.
Here's the reason I want to get it. So I buy this pack every so often. There's 200 labels in here, 100 sheets. There's 200 labels. So every 200 orders, I got to buy a new pack of labels. And I did the math on them, and it seems like the labels for those thermal printers, you get 1,000 labels in a roll, a whole lot cheaper than I get 1,000 labels in them boxes. And I ain't got to worry about, oh my God, I'm out of labels,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, one of the jokes we got around here is amongst me and my wife.
Don't say that. You make me feel bad. We know who you are, but I'm not important either. So
don't sell yourself short, Sue. No, one of the things that we joke about around here between my wife and I and my son is, I'm a man of faith, so this is purely a joke for me, but we'll say, just tell the universe what you're looking for, right? And we joke that when we find it, it's like, the universe looking out for us. The universe helps us out. I say that because, when I started out, I needed a printer, And I just jokingly was like, well, maybe the universe will help us find a printer at the Goodwill. And dadgummit, we did, right? Found a, and then
Wow.
then I was
The
like,
FBI
I want a better one. Now I want the universe to find me a better printer. Dadgummit, I found a better printer, and got rid of the old one. And then I say that because I actually found it sold this week, but I had found a one of the Dymo 4XL label writers.
I mean, is that the one you had listed? You made a video on, and it sold.
Yeah, it sold. It actually sold on eBay for for $195, I think.
Because I was actually seriously considering.
I put it. So I put it on. I know that for whatever reason, I think it's because. I think the reason those Dymos sell pretty good now, the older ones, is because you have to have like a subscription-based service to even use the new ones. So if you don't have that, like you can't print on it, right? And I think that's why if you see like a Dymo printer that's when you look it up on comps and it's higher, it's like, well, look, this same printer only costs like $70. Why is this one going for $200? It's because the $200 one doesn't have to have the subscription based service or whatever it is. And so
okay.
I put it.
That's my printer here. We pay $10 a month for ink, so we get ink automatically sent to us.
I put it on District for for $50 less basically than I had it up on eBay because fees are cheaper over on District. And I was trying to, if there was a reseller that needed one, I was trying to give them a deal on that particular one. But
yeah, I was seriously considering it. I was looking at it and been looking at it, but I got something else I'm seriously considering too. So I wouldn't want to get into that.
I think that thermal printer Sue was talking about is probably it'd probably be good. Some of those you have to.
I got the information. I wrote it down.
Some of those I think they don't come with really good instructions. Some of them, so you have to mess around with them a bit to get them, and then some of them are easier than others. But
so does that come with a roll of paper already? Roll of stickers when you order that? I'm assuming they're new. It's $50 new. So
I just found some labels I liked on Amazon for hours, and I bought 3,000 of them. Just came in. So
how much did you pay for 3,000 labels?
I'll have to look. Let me see. I can pull that up real quick. I can't remember off the top of my head. For some reason,
she says it does labels. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. I paid $50 for 3,000 labels.
Holy cow! You're kidding me.
Yeah. That's how much is that per label? But that'll last a good.
That's a whole lot better than what I'm paying.
Let's see.
Yeah, 3.
I'm gonna say it was $49.95, but we'll say 50 divided by 3,000. That's just a tiny. It's a hair over a penny a label. So
yeah, pennies a label. Yeah. So I'm gonna do a District auction tomorrow. I got about 59 items I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
Just gotta get with Eric. I think Eric's gonna run one too, and I want to go behind him. Yeah, it's way more cost efficient than labels. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got 59
items. Saying what you said, I started off with the full sheet one or the half sheet ones and did those, and one of our mantras is just make it better. So we just keep finding something to make better. And that was,
Well, you know what my problem is that with them big labels, sometimes we ship small stuff. And so here you are with a great big old label on a small little package, and
yeah.
And so I feel like they would be more cost efficient, like Sue said there. And I really want to get one. I do. I really, really do. So, but that's with the labels. That's fun. But I reckon see it's 7:44, so we went way over today, which we've had fun. We've had fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here, Lisa and Sue.
Yeah.
When appreciate Leroy dropping in.
Oh yeah, I started printing label. Let me see.
Yeah.
What's she saying here? When I started, I printed labels at my day job and taped them on.
Yeah.
I think I did the same thing, Sue. I didn't do it in my day job. I was taping. Yeah, I was clear taping them on. Yeah, I had just regular old paper, and is it district? Brad, or the well, you may not know because you got a thermal. I think the district labels are turned upright, so I have to run them. I think.
I'm not sure. I'm not.
I know. Poshmark. I can't get them turned to fit the label on Poshmark, so I have to turn them upright, or they print them out on a whole sheet of paper, and I have to cut it all out and then tape it on. I know Poshmark like that. Thanks for being available. See you next week. Yes, Lisa. Yes, we'll see you next week. But yeah, everyone here, Brad, I'm gonna blow you up real quick, and you tell everybody what you got going on next few days. Let's see, here we go.
Yeah. Just like everybody else, we're getting ready for Christmas. We're gonna have Christmas with my mom on Saturday, and just trying to get sales out when we make them. And look, Christmas is busy for everybody. I know, being a pastor, this next week is going to be a stretch run for us, and we're going to take some time off after that. But I want to thank everybody for being here. If you're not have not jumped over to District yet, jump over there, and you can find Chris over there, and I'm over there at Black Sheep Society, on eBay at Black Sheep Society. And so, just thanks everybody for being here. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, Chris.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. And we appreciate you on here. And I do hope we can work something out what we talked about yesterday. That'd be really great.
I'm game if you are, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. So next week, guys, we may have a surprise with Brad, and we'll make an announcement next week if that's the case. Yes, Sue. Yes, Sue's on District also.
Yeah.
So
I recognize the screen name. Yeah.
We're at One Stop Shop.
One Stop Shop
is where we're at.
I mean, I'll throw a link
One Stop
in
Shop
there
by RIN.
while you're talking.
Yeah, are you able to do that?
Maybe. I think so.
If you're not, just let me know. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So where was I at? So tomorrow we won't be having a show on YouTube. We changed it to Thursday nights, and we are going to be I'm going to be running a auction tomorrow on District through One Stop Shop by RIN. Was you able to get that link, Brad?
I got it, but it won't post. So I might have to have some kind of admin thing or do it.
Let me see if I can get it here. Let's see here. All right, let's see if this is sharing the chat. Oops. No, that's the wrong thing. Hold on a minute, guys. That link's going to be in the comments. That part is. That's my code. Let me get this. This is the link we need right here. Control C. Here we go, right here. Boom. Control V. There we go. All right. So here's the link here, guys, for the one-stop shop. District.net. If you have an iPhone, the app is on the iPhone. They do not have it on the Android yet. So that's that. So I will be going live tomorrow sometime after Eric, OBX Picker, is going. I can't remember if he said it right around 1. He's going live at 1, and I'm going to follow him up around 1:30 or 2 or something like that. So that's what I got going on tomorrow. Other than that, we're just going to be listed and having a good time. Lisa, you can Apple Bites. Lisa, you can get it on your laptop, computer, PC, whatever you use. Android just does not have an app yet. They are working on that. One of the head guys that works with us, they are working on that for the Android. Where am I at? I'm getting distracted. A lot of these good questions coming in. Yeah, so we'll be here next week. Don't forget, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be at my antique shop. Next week, we're going to be doing on Whatnot. Next week, we're going to be doing diecast. If anyone's interested in looking that up. Other than that, we're just going to be listening and having a good time. And you guys have a great one. And we will see you on the next show. Don't leave, Brad.
Yeah, I'm sticking around.
That's